Hey, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us for this latest episode of Making Sales Social Live, coming to you from the Social Sales Link virtual studios and brought to you by AskSSL.ai. And we also do have an ebook available for this upcoming subject on establishing a productive daily routine on LinkedIn. You can download that at socialsaleslink.com/day. I am Bob Woods, and I'm joined by Bryn Tillman as Stan has the day off. How you doing, Bryn?
I'm good, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Appreciate that. So you hear Bryn, Stan, and myself talk about LinkedIn and how to use it to start sales conversations without being salesy, like all the time. It's our gig, it's our thing. But you might be thinking, hey, I've still got to sell. How do I do all of this great stuff the SSL team talks about and sell at the same time? Well, Bryn is here to tell you how to establish a productive daily routine on LinkedIn while still having that all important time to sell. And since this is one of Bryn's favorite subjects, just going to have her just take things over and take us home. Bryn?
I love this. Thank you so much, Bob. I really love the idea that we have a really good, solid foundation in what to do every day. And so I'm going to kind of quickly run through some of the things that I do every day. There are some things in here that you're going to say, you know what, that's just too much. I'm not going to do that. But here's the thing, when we get into a routine, like I don't even notice the time, right? Like I just don't. It's just part of like I have time where I'm looking at email. I have time where like it just becomes part of the fabric of the day. So as we build out kind of this list, it can feel like a lot, but a lot of it is just quick little things to do that are not necessarily going to take up that much time. So the first thing I do in the morning, and typically I'm doing this right on my mobile, is I look at my notifications and my network tab. So my notifications are going to tell me if anyone commented on my content or anyone mentioned me, or if someone that I rang the bell of that I'm following posted content. This is really an important opportunity to engage with the people that we want to engage with, and it's necessary to engage with. The other is my network, and this is where you can go in and engage on, nurture really the folks that have a work anniversary or birthday. And so I check those out first thing in the morning. Now, side note on this, on the desktop, I use getmagical.com, which is a Chrome extension that can house a lot of these messages. Because these messages we'll probably use over and over again. But what's wonderful is in Magical, you can have like kind of fill in the blanks. So you can add in something that makes it very personal. So you can add in their company name or something that will help to customize or tailor, let's use the word tailor, a message. So I highly recommend getmagical.com. On your mobile, there's native, like, did you ever type in on your mobile, like something and it spits out, I'm on a call or I'm in a meeting, I'll call you later. That is part of text replacement. So every mobile phone has it. It's in different places. Typically it's called text replacement. And you can actually email yourself templates that you're using over and over again. So I have 5 or 6 that are in my mobile device so that when I am in the morning looking at my notifications and my network, I can quickly send out messages, but also tailor them to each person. So that's the first thing that I do. Also, by the way, I've got like happy birthday messages and engagers of my content that I want to connect with. I have a connection request. So really having those templates in place are really important. And by the way, if you need help creating them, we have a complimentary, if you're here live, it's the next one is May 15th, where you can come into our coaching and we can help you build out and tailor the messages, or even set up getmagical.com in your Chrome or Edge. And if you are hearing this after May 15th, no worries, because we run it every third Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern. So you can go to socialsaleslink.com/events and we can help to tailor these for you. Bob, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say this is probably a good time to mention the ebook again for people
Great.
who want to have it too. It's at a lot of URLs today. Socialsaleslink.com/day, DAY. It's the easiest way to do it. You'll get all the stuff there that Bryn is talking about today.
Awesome. So the next thing I do is I hop into who's viewed my profile. So who's viewed my profile? I'm getting first degree connections, people I'm already connected to, and people I'm not connected to. So I'll take a look, and I view this like it's caller ID. I do not return everybody's call, but I look to see, is this someone that I'd like a conversation with? And if it's a first degree connection, I'll send a quick little note. This is, thanks for visiting my profile. It's been some time since we last connected. May I ask what brought you here today? And I'm not prospecting. I'm just saying, hey, what brought you to my profile? Simple. If it's a second degree or beyond, you can send a quick little connection request, right? Thanks for visiting my profile. I had a chance to look at yours and noticed something, right? Something that that's the tailoring part. What did I notice, right? So if you're open, let's connect. P.S. May I ask what brought you to my profile? And this is a great way to just start that conversation. The next thing I do is I check my inbox. I check my messages, right? Just like I check my email, I actually check my messages a few times, at least twice a day, if not more. I'm also getting notifications, which often will bring me back into my messages, but at least twice a day, check your messages. And if you have Sales Navigator, make sure you're checking in both places, because they are segregated. If you started a message thread in Sales Navigator, you're likely not going to see that in LinkedIn.com. And I want to make sure you're not missing those messages. So make sure that you're looking at both. So that's, checking your messages a couple times a day, obviously, is really, really important. Okay, so then the next exercise is managing my inbound invitations. I go in and say, who's asking me to connect? And unfortunately for me, I've got 30,000 connections, which is the max. So I have to disconnect from people in order to connect with people. So this can get backed up for me, but I don't want it to get backed up for you. And there are 3 ways that we want to handle these inbound invitations, right? The first way that we want to handle is we want to take a look and say, if I were in a networking meeting, would I want a conversation with this person? And if the answer is yes, you're going to accept the connection and send a welcome message that starts that conversation. If they have a message, use that message, right, to have that conversation. The next one is, I don't know. I don't know if I want to connect with this person. I don't see that we have a lot in common. It's not really an industry I serve, but they're local, or there's something, or maybe we have 25 shared connections. And so I want to know why they're connecting before I connect, but I don't want to ignore them, which is number 3. So now we're on number 2, which is I want to reply before accepting. And you can do that on desktop, or you can actually do that on mobile if they have sent you a message initially. If they just sent a connection request, you can only respond without connecting on the desktop. But you want to have, a quick little message that says, thanks so much. So I'll start with that and then I'll go back to the welcome message, but it might be, thanks so much for your connection request. Typically only connect with people I know or engage with on LinkedIn. May I ask how you found me? And then I can hit ignore, but because I now sent a message, they're in my inbox. I can connect with them later if I should choose. But now I've responded, I haven't ignored them. Now, if I know I want to connect with them, my welcome message is something like, thanks so much for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I'm not sure if you're using LinkedIn for sales, but if you are, I've got some great valuable resources in our library. If you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to send a link. And I ask permission to send a link. And I'd say maybe 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 ask for it. So, and it's okay if they don't. I haven't spammed them. And by the way, realize they've asked me to connect. So I want to know, like, why do they want to connect? And this will help me to identify if what I'm doing is of interest to them, or did they connect to sell me, which is very possible. Hopefully they don't pitch me too badly. Okay, so that's managing invitations. The next thing I might do, and this is in no particular order, and actually sometimes I will do this for the week. I will look at what clients am I talking to this week, and I'll mine their connections. So I'll identify exactly who they know that I want to meet. And I'll actually, I use Sales Navigator, so I actually will save that list in Sales Navigator that I can pull up. If you're using the free LinkedIn, you could use your bookmarks to save that list. But then if the opportunity arises, typically when they're like, oh, you did such a great job, thank you so much, you can now kind of move into, well, I'm so glad we've been able to help you do X, Y, and Z. I don't know if you know, but the way I've typically grown my business has been from introductions from my happy clients. You're connected to quite a few people that I'd love to get in front of. Do you have 5 minutes where I can quickly run these names by you and get your thoughts? And now if I'm talking to 5 or 6 clients a week, I have the opportunity, and it may not be right in every call, right? Like if there's an issue or there's a challenge you're solving, wait till that's solved and they're happy before you ask for an introduction. Or even permission to name drop, it's really important. But ideally, if you've built relationships, this is the ultimate opportunity to grow your business through your warm market. Now, the next thing I might do, and I used to do more of this, and as I'm, going through my list, I realized I probably should start doing this again, is send a mobile message. So I used to do, especially like during COVID times, 5 messages a day. And I would send video messages, 5 video messages a day. Now, these are so easy to do, but you can only do them in mobile. So you hop into somebody's LinkedIn profile and you click on message and you go down to take a video, send a video, and you just do a little selfie. There's an over 90% response rate. Now you can only do this with your first degree connections, but this is a great way to re-engage with someone that may, even if they looked at your profile, send a video message. Or they engaged on your content, send a video message. There's like so many ways that you can do this. The other is to just do a search of your first degree connections that meet a certain criteria and just kind of go through them methodically, 5 a day, send a video message. It's amazing how strong that connection will be. And if you have a great piece of content that you want to share, send a video message and say, hey, we recently put out this blog post and I thought of you, thought you might get some value from it. I'm going to stick a little link below. Or if you like the permission to send a link, you could say, if you're interested, let me know, I'll send the link. But when I send a video message, I typically send the link. I feel like I've warmed that up. So, hey, Bob, I hope you're doing well. Recently put out a blog post on prompt writing made easy from our best-selling book, Prompt Writing Made Easy. And, I thought you might get some value from it. I put a link below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Right? That's it. Simple, but you're engaging on a daily basis. Now, I also love giving back, and sometimes I just do this weekly, not daily. But this might be, I'm making an introduction for someone, or many introductions if it's a networking partner, or I'm sending a recommendation or endorsing someone for skills that they have that I've experienced, right? Quoting them in a blog post, right? Those are like kind of those give backs. So, often we're sharing if we've done a podcast interview. We'll share that content, right? Anything that will help someone else is exactly what we're talking about. And so that could be once a week. You could do that for 5 or 6 people, or once a day. I'll also look at ringing the bell of folks. This isn't working as well as I'd like it to work, because now when you connect with someone, it's automatically ringing their bell. And so I have to unring bells, and it's not really that thrilling for me, but I do try to follow purposefully 3 to 5 people a day, whether they're prospects or referral partners or influencers that are sharing content that my network would love. Like I try to do that on a daily basis. I also find, share, and engage on content. And you can do this in search. You can do this through ringing the bell. You can do this. I use Sales Navigator to find content to engage on based on my prospects. I want to engage on their content. And I try to engage. So my thing, so we teach, Bob Stan and I teach 10-to-1 ratio. Engage 10 times more than you post. And since I post every day, I really try to engage 10 times at least a day. That doesn't mean like it could be a comment, a like, a share, mix it up. But I do try to engage as much as possible in other people's content every day. And we recommend 3 to 5 times a day, unless you're sharing every day. And then we do recommend 10 times a day. And if you have marketing support and that to you is overwhelming, how am I going to find that kind of content? One of the things, this is sort of I think a really great way to leverage a VA or some support is, as your company page, they can go out to the content, engage, and then mention you. So as the company page, I could go out and say, at Stan Robinson Jr., right? But I'm the company page. This post on Sales Navigator is, something I thought you might find interesting. And then now Stan is pinged to come in. At Bob Woods, this post on prompt writing for marketing is something I thought you might get a kick out of. Or I'd love your thoughts. We'd love your thoughts on this. And so you can have a VA going out as the company page, finding the content for you to engage on, and then mentioning you in that comments. And so now you're getting the brand of the company and your personal brand. And all you have to do is respond to the pings that your company page has mentioned you on. It's just kind of fun. The next thing I do, and I kind of do this weekly, is engage on influencers. So for example, Mark Hunter or Meredith Elliott Powell or Jeb Blunt, these are all influencers, Anthony Iannarino. These are all great influencers in the sales arena, and they are attracting the same people we want to have conversations with. So I want to make sure that in my engagement, I'm out engaging with them and the people that are engaging with them. And then I can actually even search all of my first degree connections that follow Meredith, and I could, or follow, let's say, Anita Nielsen or Colleen Stanley or Liz Hyman, right? So maybe I find this amazing article from Liz Hyman on sales process. I can use this by going to all of my connections, my first degree connections that follow Liz Hyman, And I could say, hey, I just came across this amazing article by Liz Hyman on sales process, and I noticed you follow her. I thought I'd send it your way because I think it'll bring you some great value. Right. And so I get to start a conversation around an influencer easily. Right. So I'm following content from this influencer, and that's going to really help me start conversations with my first degree connections that lead to my solution, not with it. Networking meetings. I love my networking meetings. I recently joined a group called NRG. If anyone's interested, reach out to me. And literally, they make, I think I've had 50 introductions to the right people from Mike Weiner, who's the owner, founder of the group. And literally, I get text messages with Bryn, meet Joe, Bryn, meet Sally. Like, it's amazing. But I want to prep, my networking meeting prep. So I want to connect with that person on LinkedIn. I may want to search their connections and see who they know. And I want to do some pre-call planning. So now I'm going to just throw in a little AI. And we have a whole prompt on this. If you're interested, reach out to Bob Stan or myself, and we'll give you the prompt for pre-call, the crispy prompt: context, role, inspiration, scope, prohibitions, and you. So it'll interview you, but we can give you a great prompt for that. So just reach out to us because we love that. And then bi-weekly or weekly, you may want to consider creating content, and that could be just a poll or a quote or, anything that's coming from you, essentially in that original content. So create and post. So I think that might have covered everything in our ebook at socialsaleslink.com/day. What do you think?
There might be even one or two things in there that weren't covered, which is another reason why you would want to go to socialsaleslink.com/day to download that, so everything is right in front of you. There's some additional little nuggets in there as well. It's a great resource to have. It's probably one of my favorites of all of the ebooks and resources that
Ooh.
we have, which seems like numbers into the millions nowadays. We
Feels that
definitely
way.
have.
I
It
think
feels that way.
maybe the many, 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 many hundreds getting
Yeah.
close, maybe. But yes, it does. We have a lot of content, but
Yeah, we do.
we've been doing this for a really long time now.
Yeah. Yeah, we do, and obviously it's not millions, but we do have a lot of ebooks out there, but this one's probably one of my favorites.
I love that. Yeah.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and thank you very much for joining us for this episode of Making Sales Social Live, sponsored by AskSSL.ai. If you're with us on LinkedIn or YouTube Live right now, we do this every week, so keep an eye out for those live sessions. If you're listening to us on our podcast right now, which means we're recorded to you and you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that and drop us a like or a comment as well. If you'd like more information on our podcast, go to socialsaleslink.com/podcast. Again, that's socialsaleslink.com/podcast. So when you're out and about this week and every week, following that schedule, getting all your sales stuff in while you're doing your social selling stuff, be sure to make your sales.
Social. Look, I did it all by myself.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Excellent, excellent stuff. Thanks, everybody.